right, so get this. We're going deep on Larry Hoover today. You sent over these excerpts from his Wikipedia page, and wow, just wow.
Really is something.
This guy, I mean, we're talking empire building, rebranding himself, even catching Kanye West's attention.
Yeah,
How can one person be all these things? That's what we're going to figure out.
It's wild how Hoover's life is like intertwined with Chicago's whole story. You know, cities shaped by all these social and economic forces, and it all kind of spills onto the streets.
Okay, so let's go back to the start. Mississippi born, but lands in Chicago at 4 years old. Huge change, right? Especially back then. Think that move shaped him.
Hard to say for sure, but Chicago, mid-20th century, man, it was a melting pot. Racial tensions, economic gaps, gangs changing constantly. No wonder a kid like Hoover drops out at 13, gets pulled in.
And he doesn't just join any gang, right? It's the Supreme Gangsters. What made them different in Chicago's gang world?
Think of it like this. South Side. All territories, right? Each one controlled by different groups. Supreme Gangsters under Hoover, they weren't content just holding on. They wanted more power.
Ambitious. And then 69, the merger. Black Disciples, they formed the Black Gangster Disciple Nation. Big name.
Oh yeah, commands attention. New era for them. But the real shift, 74, David Barksdale dies. He was leading the Black Disciples. Hoover steps right in, takes over everything.
Gang member to basically running the South Side show. Did his style, did it change things?
Hoover, man, he had charisma, strategic, could unite different factions, wasn't just muscle, he had a vision.
But even with his leadership, there was still other gangs, rivals.
Big time. Black Gangster Disciple Nation, everyone noticed. Fierce rivals, People Nation, bunch of gangs together, Black P. Stone Nation, Vice Lords, clashes. It was a cycle, violence for decades.
Can't even imagine the tension, the danger back then. And here's the crazy part, 73, he's locked up. But his power, it doesn't go away, grows almost. 78, forms the Folk Nation, even more gangs under him.
Yeah.
How's that even possible from prison?
Loyalty, man. Hoover built loyalty, control, even from inside. Lieutenants, messengers, a whole network ran things from his cell.
So being locked up didn't stop him at all?
Nope. Gangster Disciples, Folk Nation, they spread everywhere, all over the U.S. Hoover's reach way beyond those prison walls.
But then, later on, things change. Hoover starts talking about, no more violence, rebranding GD to mean growth and development. What was that, change of heart or a calculated move?
That's the question, isn't it? Some say PR stunt, look better, maybe get out sooner. Others, they point to his book, 96, The Blueprint of a New Concept, From Gangster Disciple to Growth and Development. A real desire to change, they say.
Hold on. He wrote a book. Okay, now I'm really interested.
It's a glimpse inside his head, that time period. Fascinating read, especially with everything else going on before and after.
So what's in it? Concrete plan for this growth and development? Or just talk?
It's his journey, regrets, a vision for the Gangster Disciples, but different. Shift from crime to community, from violence to social economic power.
Big change from drugs and turf wars. But did he actually walk the walk?
That's where the doubt comes in. Some see it as manipulation, control, but looking like he's moved on from the violence.
Wants it both ways. Renouncing violence, but keeping the power he got from it.
Exactly. And then, July 2022, statement, Hoover says, I want nothing to do with the Gangster Disciples anymore. Real or just a move. Hard to say.
It's almost like man and myth all mixed up. Yeah, makes you think. Changing someone with a past like that. But we can't forget, even with the talk of changing, there were real consequences to his actions.
For sure. Victims, families, whole communities scarred by the Gangster Disciples, the violence. You can't just erase that, rebrand, or say you're done.
Right. And then there's the legal stuff. 73, convicted, murder of William Young, drug dealer, accused of stealing from the gang.
Yeah, Young.
Big sentence, life plus 200 years. Serious stuff. Shows how seriously they took it. Gang violence back then.
No kidding.
Okay, now fast forward. 97. Already doing life, but gets convicted again. Running a criminal enterprise. From prison. How?
Shows you control, even locked up. Investigation took 17 years, wiretaps, informants, the whole 9 yards.
17 years. That's longer than some folks' careers. What'd they even find?
Huge operation. Gangster Disciples with Hoover calling the shots from inside. 30,000 members making like $100 million a year. Drugs, all sorts of illegal stuff.
Like a Fortune 500, but from a cell. Crazy.
Makes you wonder, right? Prison, rehabilitation, all that. If someone can pull strings like that, locked up, what does it say about the system?
Yeah, no easy answers there. So where is he now?
ADX Florence, Colorado. Supermax. You know, the really serious one.
Oh, yeah, ADX Florence.
Yeah.
Heard it called like a clean version of hell.
Isolation, 23 hours a day, alone. Little contact, no outside world, really. Far cry from all that power he had.
Hard to picture powerful gang leader to that. But even now, there are people. They want him out.
His wife, Wendy Jenkins Hoover, she's been fighting for him. Clemency started the Larry Hoover Project, getting his story out there, pushing for a review of his sentence.
Larry Hoover Project. What's their main argument? Are they saying he's innocent or just that he's done enough time?
It's more about Hoover's changed, they say, admits his mistakes, wants to do good, done his time, deserves the second chance, they argue.
Redemption. But how do you get past what he did? Accountability versus second chances. Tough question.
Tough question for everyone, not just Hoover. Justice system, forgiveness, what does rehabilitation really mean? We gotta talk about it.
Interesting how this project changes the story. Not just the gangster, the crime boss, but about change, maybe a different future.
So even people who do bad things, they're human, they can grow, change. Whether you buy Hoover's redemption, that's up to you. But it makes you think justice, forgiveness, second chances, all that.
And then there's the Kanye thing.
Yeah.
Famous rapper wants a convicted gang leader freed. Doesn't happen every day.
Strange pairing, sure. But shows you how Hoover's story, people are drawn to it. Kanye, he admires him in a way, sees him as a survivor, a product of a system that chews people up, especially in certain communities.
So it's not just Hoover's, it's bigger than that. The system, what leads to crime, to prison.
Yeah, exactly. Fits with Kanye's other stuff, social justice, especially for Black communities.
And it's not just talk, right? Kanye actually tried to get Trump to pardon him back in 2018.
Then there was that Free Larry Hoover concert, December 2021, with Drake. Huge. Got people talking, that's for sure.
Big statement. But was it just about Hoover, or was it more like prison reform, mass incarceration, all that?
It was about the human cost of prison, especially those long, long sentences for things that happened years ago. Redemption, second chances, being more human with justice.
It's amazing Hoover's story. Now it's tied up with these bigger issues. Like his life is how we look at these big questions. Legal stuff, talk of changing, famous people backing him, and so many unanswered questions.
Yeah, it's that tension, the image, what he wants us to see, and then what he actually did. Maybe we'll never really know the whole story.
His book, The Blueprint of a New Concept, you mentioned it. Any real insights in there, or just more PR?
Interesting read for sure, even if you don't believe all of it. Thing is, how he talks about his past, the Gangster Disciples, the pain, the bad stuff, he admits it, but he says he was trying to build something, community of belonging for young Black men who felt left out,
So he's saying it was like social work, but gone wrong.
Yeah.
That's a tough sell with all the violence, the crime.
It is, and he says the growth and development, that was real. Changing the gang away from crime towards helping the community, investing in education, jobs, real businesses.
But he was still in charge, even from prison.
Yeah.
Running the whole thing. How does that fit?
Right. Hard to know how much was real, how much was just playing the game. And even if we believe him a little, there's still so much damage done.
Messy, for sure. And then his wife, the Larry Hoover Project, they want him pardoned, saying he's changed. Do they deal with all these contradictions?
They focus on him growing, changing, being a force for peace inside prison. They say he's done his time, he's different now, deserves a chance to give back.
But aren't we kind of forgetting what he did? Accountability, redemption.
Yeah.
Where's the balance?
That's bigger than just Hoover. It's about all of us, our justice system. What does forgiveness mean? Second chances. We got to figure that out.
And then Kanye West, wow, world famous, and he's fighting for Larry Hoover. Changes everything, doesn't it?
That's a star like that. It's huge. Brought attention like nothing else could.
Kanye sees him as a symbol, right? The problems with the system for Black communities. It's not just about Hoover. It's about all of that.
Exactly. Challenging how we see people like Hoover, not just criminals, but understanding why, the social stuff, the economics, all of it.
There's always more to the story, than we see at first. Larry Hoover built a criminal empire, then wanted to be a community leader, and now Kanye West is on his side. A lot to unpack here.
It is, and that's why we do these deep dives, making us think, questioning what we think we know, really engaging with these big questions.
So wrapping up our deep dive into Larry Hoover, what's the one thing you hope our listener walks away with?
I hope it makes them curious, to learn more, understand the things that shape our world, the people in it. Larry Hoover's story, it reminds us that even the simply stories, they're usually complicated, full of contradictions.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We have, but the conversation, thinking about all this, I hope that continues.
Absolutely. Thanks for being with us on this journey, and we'll see you next time on the deep dive.